Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hugger AJ Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Hightown Season number 2, Episode number 10, which is the Season 2 finale. And this finale, wow, just wow. The way it ended, the way everything came crumbling down around Jackie at the end. Oof. But yeah, anyway, the episode opens up with Jackie and Alan being very happy that they were able to arrest Frankie. Now, of course, they can't really put him in jail permanently or for the long term because they are still waiting to see what the court decides and all of that stuff. But they are happy because the episode opens up with Alan and Jackie at the murder scene or the murder house where Frankie ended up shooting Daisy in the head, and they have a team checking the bathroom, the forensics team, and everything. But yeah, these two are very happy, and they're like, you know what, all of this is going to come down on what Charmaine says. So fingers crossed. And anyway, the entire police state is very happy about the accomplishment. It even made news. We have like mass state police arrest suspected murderer and drug trafficker and all of that stuff. Everyone is happy. Alan is on TV. Good for him. Frankie is happy that she was not Frankie, my bad. Again, Jackie, Frankie. Yeah, Jackie is happy that she was able to make this happen. And Ray is happy as well because Ray was a part of this too. So Ray ends up going to meet with his superior because he wants to get back in the force. And the superior is like, Ray, all of us want you back because you do have the skills to be a very good detective, a police officer, and all of that stuff. However, you can't have your job back because of those allegations against you, especially after what Renee said. So you can come back if you can handle the Renee situation. And Ray is like, I have an idea about how to go about it. So we cut to Renee going to prison in order to meet Frankie, and I'm like, Renee, why would you go and meet Frankie? Why just erase him from your life? But yeah, Renee is like, Frankie, I wanted you to hear this from my mouth that I'm the one who betrayed you. I love Ray, and I'm going to spend my entire life with him. You are nothing. You and I are over. And of course, Frankie ends up calling her a lot of names, and he also warns her that, you know what, Renee, I won't be here permanently. I will be out even if it takes me years to come out, but I will come for revenge. I will harm you, and you'll live the rest of your life looking behind your shoulder and all of that stuff. And Renee is like, you know what, Frankie, don't threaten me because you don't know what I'm capable of. And the way that Renee delivered that line, I think that's when it clicked for Frankie. He's like, Jorge dying. Renee's the one who did it, huh? And he ends up using that when Ray comes to meet him later down in the episode. Also, Renee was kind of trying to be nice to Frankie, even though he's in jail, and he kind of broke her heart and all of that stuff. Because she's like, you know what, Frankie, even if I don't ever come to meet you, our kid will be making some visits when possible. My mom will bring him. So moving on, we get to see Osito. He's all dressed up. He came back from his trial, and it turned out that yeah, they do agree that Osito can be bailed. However, they ended up saying that the bail amount is going to be $1 million, and I'm like, wow, the state really played him, huh? So he's talking to this police officer, and he's the one who tells Osito that Frankie is back, so you need to be on guard. So Osito ends up going to his cell, and he ends up talking to his cellmate. And yeah, the cellmate is being transferred to the other side, the red side, because they ended up doing a drug test, and he came back positive. And yeah, this is where Osito's like, I can use you. I'll end up. I'll end up spreading drugs over here, and you can start spreading drugs in the red area. And he's like, how the heck will I be able to do that? Osito's like, you'll figure it out. You'll be the king there. However, I warn you that because Frankie's there, you'll have to take the king position from Frankie. Can you do that? And he's like, I can do that. So we get the scene between Leslie and Jackie. Now that a whole lot of things have been addressed, Leslie is like, Jackie, why don't we go out and celebrate? Let's go for drinks. And yeah, you can see that Leslie is back in the relationship. She's trying to come back into Jackie's life. And I'm like, this isn't going to end well, right? And it doesn't. So Renee has decided to move in with Ray, and she ends up knocking at the door. She's like, hold this stuff, Ray." And I'm like, "Renee, you could have called him to come out of the house from your car to help you out. Why did you bring all of this yourself?" But she did what she did. So this is where these two have an emotional talk, because Renee, she's finally happy. She's like, "I'm going to get the life that I always wanted with Ray. I'm going to live my life with him." And this is where she's like, "Ray, what's your stance when it comes to having children?" And Ray is like, "Well, I've always wanted a big family, so I'm okay with having children." And this is where Renee is like, "Well, I've got something to tell you." But before she can tell Ray that she's pregnant with his child, Ray is like, "But before we can even start to think about having kids, I have to be a provider. So that means that I have to go back into force. I need a stable job, Renee." And yeah, Renee stops herself from telling Ray that she's already pregnant, that she's been pregnant for a couple of months. And this is where Ray is like, "And Renee, you can help me with that." And Renee is like, "How?" And Ray tells her that she needs to retract her statement. She needs to tell the State Department that she was lying, that Ray never used her or never forced her to be sexually intimate with him, and all of that stuff. And Renee is like, "I can't lie." And Ray is like, "Well, you've lied before." But yeah, Renee doesn't like this idea, but Ray is like, "Renee, I'm sorry. It's just that I don't have any other options, so please help me." And Renee is like, "You know what? I came this far, so of course I'll help you because you're my guy." So yeah, similar to how she was ride or die for Frankie, I guess she's now going to be ride or die for Ray. Then we get to see Leslie and Jackie connect with each other over drinks, and this is where Leslie apologizes to Jackie. She's like, "Jackie, I was afraid. I pushed you back because of my own personal issues. I was married to a dude, but then we got divorced, and then you came into my life, and I realized that I'm into girls and all of that stuff. So it was a lot for me." And Jackie accepts that, and Jackie's also like, "And I also have to apologize because I can be a lot." But before these two can continue their conversation, Leslie's mom calls, and Leslie's like, "Well, I have to take it because if I don't, my mom is going to continue calling me." So Jackie's like, "I'll go and visit the restroom." And while she is in line, this is where Jackie ends up meeting her therapist, her doctor, and she's like, "Don't you remember me?" And the doctor is like, I do." And the doctor isn't necessarily interested in talking to Jackie, even though Jackie's like, "Well, I've been sober. I also helped put Frankie away. You must have heard the news on TV." And I'm like, "Jackie, you're kind of lying about being sober to your own therapist." And maybe the therapist picked up on it, because the therapist is like, Jackie, I'm happy for you about your accomplishments in life, but I have a policy to not talk to my patients outside work, so if you'll excuse me." And Jackie didn't necessarily like how the doctor treated her. And as Leslie and Jackie are making their way to the car, Jackie is like, "Have you ever felt like a fraud? Because I just met my previous doctor, and she didn't necessarily have a conversation with me. It's as if she kind of didn't care." And Leslie is like, "Who the heck cares about other people? Let's just focus on us." And yeah, this is where they end up kissing each other and hooking up. Then we cut to Osito, and it turns out that someone did pay Osito's $1 million bail. And yeah, I was like, you know what? It's the New York guy, right? And it turns out to be the New York guy. And Alan is waiting for Osito, and Alan is like, "Okay, so you got connections, huh? Someone paid your bail, and now you're a criminal, and I don't appreciate a criminal like you running free." And Osito is like, "Well, I'm free, and the deal that we had, it's off the table, and you just let me do what I want to do, Alan, and you continue doing what you have to do." And Alan is like, "I'll come for you, Osito. I'll come for you." And Osito's like, "You know what? Now that I'm out, you need to worry about yourself, Sergeant." And Alan is like, "Is that a threat?" And Osito tells him that, "You know what? F around and find out." So Jackie and Leslie are being very good and very romantic and very flirty with each other. They're even flirting with each other at the office, even though Leslie was like, "You know what, Jackie? I don't want to talk about relationship troubles or relationship stuff in the office," but I guess she's changed her tune. So Alan calls both of them to his office, and Alan is like, "Charmaine is being transferred to another facility before her trial, and I want you to be the one to drive her." And Jackie and Leslie is like, "Is that even a good idea? Shouldn't other people handle this? And also, Charmaine won't be talking if that's what you think, that if we end up driving her, she'll open up." And Alan is like, "You know what? I need you to do this. So are you in?" And Jackie is like, "Yeah, let's do this." So we cut to Renee, and she's talking to the state police. And yeah, this is where she's like, I lied before because I was worried about my life because Frankie threatened me. He was like, if you don't say what I tell you to say, then I'll kill you. So I lied about Ray, and Ray never forced me to do anything. So please, I need to take back my statement. And yeah, that works. That works. Ray is like, how was it? And Renee is like, I aced it. I ended up crying. I put up a show, and they're going to call you back. They're going to reinstate you. And these two end up again hooking up, being intimate with each other because Renee is like, well, I helped you. Now you need to help me feel good. And as they're doing it, Ray gets a call, and I was like, wait. Is this call going to ask Ray to come back, or is this a call where they're like, I'm sorry, Ray, you can't come back? Because if it's the other call, where they're like, sorry, Ray, we won't be calling you back, is he going to push Renee off of him? But yeah, it turns out that it's a call, and they want him back, and they continue with their sexy times. So Ray is called into the office. He's talking to his superior. The superior is very happy. He's like, you know what? I have a task force ready to go after the New York Connect. Are you in, Ray? He's like, yep, I'm in. And the higher up is like, well, you're a sergeant now. You'll be heading your own task force. And yeah, Ray is very, very happy about it. However, the other superior isn't happy about it because he can kind of see through Ray. He knows what he knows the type of police officer that Ray is. And he's like, you know what? You might have fooled other people, but you will never fool me. I know what you're playing and what you're getting at. You're going to mess up. And this is where he drops the bomb that now that Ray is sergeant, that means that Alan is going to be transferred. And Ray is like, wait, what? And yeah, the higher up is like, yeah, we have budget cuts and all of that stuff. So Alan will be transferred to homicide. And I want you to go to his office and tell him the news. And yeah, we have a very, very intense scene between Alan and Ray because Ray ends up telling Alan that he's being transferred and that Ray is going to take his position. And Alan doesn't, understandably, Alan doesn't like that one bit because Alan is like, so you messed up, huh? You messed up and now you're back as sergeant while I ended up giving 10 good years to this force. And look how they're treating me. And there are some racial stuff involved when it comes to how both of these men are being treated by the department and all of that stuff. But yeah, Alan is like, you know what, Ray, you know what, enjoy it while it lasts because I know that considering the type of F up you are, you're going to mess things up and I'll be back in no time. So Ray, keep the seat warm for me. So he walks off. Then we get to see Osito hooking up with his nurse, finally. And yeah, he gets a call and it's Mr. New York. He wants to meet him, and Osito's like, yeah, I'll be there. And the nurse asks Osito that he needs to share some information because if they're going to do this, she needs to realize how deep how deep in she is. And yeah, Osito's like, I'll tell you, but first let's hook up again. So I'm not really sure if he's going to tell her all of the truth or not, but let's see. So Jackie goes to meet with Ed, and yeah, they have mended a relationship. And Ed is like, Jackie, I'm proud of what you did, and also I'll be having a retirement party at 7, so I want you there. Will you come? And Jackie is like, yeah, sure, I'll come. Then we have the scene between Ray and Frankie because Ray wants to tell Frankie that he needs to stop threatening Renee because Renee is his woman now. And she's a policewoman. She is like connected to a policewoman, basically his wife, I guess. So she's off limits. And Frankie's like, well, she played you. Renee really played you, Ray. And you don't even know what she's capable of, huh? What about the Jorge stuff? And this is where Frankie basically implies to Ray that Renee ended up killing Jorge. And that's something that Ray actually asks Renee later on in the episode. So Ray decides to go to meet Jackie, and Jackie's like, "Why the heck are you here?" And Ray is like, "Well, I'm going to head this New York task force, and I want you in it. So are you in?" And Jackie's like, "Yeah, I'm in, and I'll be working for you and with Alan, right?" And Ray is like, "Nah, not Alan, because I ended up replacing him. I'm a sergeant now." And Jackie's like, "That's not good, Ray." And Ray is like, "Well, he would have done the same thing to me." And I'm like, okay. So as these two are talking, this is where Ray is like, "Jackie, I need you to tell me what you know about the Jorge case." And Jackie's like, "Well, we found the body. However, the MO doesn't make any sense because Juleta, who ended up sharing a lot of information about Daisy's death, he didn't necessarily talk about Jorge." and he's very sure that Frankie would have never killed Jorge. So yeah, the dots are connecting inside Ray's mind because he knows that Renee is involved somehow. So while they're talking, Leslie comes in and Leslie's like, "Oh, Ray, it's you." And this is where Ray tells Leslie that he has become sergeant, and now these two women will be working for him, and it's kind of awkward. And Leslie's like, "Hey, Ray, no hard feelings, right?" And Ray's like, "Yeah, sure." So he walks away, and Leslie is like, "Jackie, why are you friends with Ray?" And Jackie's like, "Well, I like him. I like him. Even though he is problematic, I still like him." And Leslie's like, "Well, that's because you're a big softie." And they end up hooking up. So Ray goes to the gun shop he saw Renee walk in, and he goes in a few episodes ago, yeah, and he goes in and he talks to the gun owner, and he's like, "Do you recognize this woman? She was in this shop. What was she doing?" And he was like, "Well, she was acting as if buying bullets was like buying candy. She wanted to only buy one bullet." And yeah, Ray is very sure that Renee ended up killing Jorge. So Leslie and Jackie are driving Charmaine away, and as they're driving, Leslie tries to make Charmaine to break because she's like, "You know what, Charmaine? Do you know that Osito has made bail? He's a free man now. He must have shared something very important for him to go free. Maybe he ended up blaming you for everything, and you will be tried as an adult, Charmaine. So you still have time. You still have time to come clean, strike a deal, tell us about Frankie, or tell us about the New York connection." And Charmaine is like, "No." She doesn't necessarily say anything. However, she does request Jackie to stop the car because she's on her period and she needs to take care of that. And Leslie is like, "No, Jackie, don't do it. No, don't do it." And Jackie is like, "I'll have to do it because again, Jackie is a big softie." So they stop the car, and I'm like, "Oh no, Charmaine is going to run away. Charmaine is going to run away." And that's exactly what happens because when Jackie ends up uncuffing her, "Oh, Jackie, why did you do that?" But yeah, Charmaine runs away. Leslie gives chase, but Leslie's ankle breaks and Leslie falls down. And Jackie's like, "Are you okay?" And Leslie's like, "You're breaking protocol, checking on me. Go after Charmaine. I'll call it in." So Jackie chases Charmaine, but yeah, unfortunately, she's unable to catch Charmaine, and Charmaine is gone. And this is bad. This is very, very, very bad. So we get to see Ray and Renee in the car, and this is where Ray is like, "You know what, Renee? I want to start our new lives together, and I want to forget everything about Frankie or what we have done in the past. We are just two strangers who just met and are in love, and we're going to start a new life. We're new people now." And Renee is like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." But Ray is like, "For us to be new people, however, we need to make sure that there are no secrets between us. So Renee, is there anything you have to tell me?" Because Ray wants Renee to tell him about the horror situation herself, and Renee is like, "No, there's nothing that I want to tell you." However, we do get flashbacks to Renee, to the night Renee ended up killing Jorge, and I was like, you know what, she's not going to tell Ray about Jorge, but she's going to tell Ray about the pregnancy. And that's what happens, because she's like, "Yeah, Ray, I have something to tell you. I'm pregnant." And Ray is like, "Is it mine?" And Renee is like, "Of course it's yours, you D." But yeah, Ray is very, very happy that he's having a baby with Renee. And he's like, "What do you reckon it is? The baby is?" And Renee is like, "I think it's a girl." And Ray is very, very happy about it. However, he's also worried because he knows. He knows for sure that Renee is the one who ended up killing Jorge. And I guess in the upcoming season, we're going to see him trying to protect Renee. And yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. So the higher up ends up calling Leslie and Jackie into the office, and he's like, "What the heck just happened? Why did Charmaine run away? Why can none of us find Charmaine? What the heck were you two doing?" And he ends up being a bit sexist because he's like, "Well, this is what I get when I ask two women to handle a situation." And I'm like, "Don't say that, don't." But yeah, they're going to have an investigation, and these two are going to be questioned about what happened and what led to Charmaine running away. And Jackie's like, "Yeah, I understand that. I accept." Being interrogated and all of that stuff, and she is about to go walk away, and Leslie is like, "Sir, can I talk to you in private?" And yeah, he's like, "No, whatever you have to say, you can say it in front of Jackie." And this is where Leslie just goes off. She just goes off. Leslie ends up putting the blame on Alan. She starts putting the blame on Jackie. She's like, "Alan ended up ordering this transfer without following proper protocol or letting anyone else know. This was kind of off the books, even though though I said no. And then Jackie's the one who ended up stopping the car and uncuffing Charmaine, even though I said no. And wow, Leslie, wow. She just basically pushed Jackie and Alan under the bus. And Jackie is devastated. The fact that Leslie would say all of that stuff, she is devastated. Which, I mean, she was kind of telling the truth. Because she wasn't a fan of Jackie stopping the car, but I was like, Leslie, you didn't have to say that though. But yeah, Jackie's like, why the heck would you say that, Leslie? And Leslie's like, because it's my career, Jackie. It's my career. I'm saving my career. And Jackie is a mess. She's crying. She punches the locker, and then she gets a reminder that it's going to be 7 and she needs to be at Ed's retirement party. And I was like, is she going to go? Well, it's a good thing that she does. So Renee takes Ray and her to her mom's house where her kid is waiting, and she's like, you know what, you all talk here while I go pack up Junior's stuff. And yeah, basically she's packing up a whole lot of money that Frankie was saving, and she also picks up a bag of drugs. And I'm like, Renee, why the heck would you take those with you? Throw them away, girl. So Alan gets a call because he's now working in homicide, and it only has like what 4 detectives, and he gets a call about about a person involved in a bar fight, and he's like, "Why the heck are you calling me if none of those people are dead?" But yeah, this is where things get very interesting because the person who was in the fight, he ends up talking about these 2 Jamaican women he used to work with and how they ended up burying a body, and Alan is like, oh, and of course that body is Jorge's body, and everything is coming back, and Alan is back on the case, and I'm so happy for Alan. So Jackie decides to attend Eddie's retirement party, and this is where we get a very sweet scene where Ed and Jackie are dancing together, and it's a very emotional scene. And Jackie is like, Ed, I have to be truthful. I don't want you to retire. I want everything to go back to how it was. I want to be back on the boat with you. And Ed is like, you have to move on. You can't come back home. You have to keep moving on. And Jackie understands that. She is devastated after everything that happened to her in one single day, but she understands that. So one of her quote friends, unquote unquote friends, I'm not really sure if these two are friends. They kind of respect each other, I guess. So he's like, Jackie, you owe me a drink, and Jackie's like, yeah, let's drink. So he ends up ordering a drink for himself, and Jackie looks at the bar. And I'm like, oh no, Jackie, no, don't do it, don't go down that spiral again. But I guess that's exactly what she does. So Osito's partner ends up entering the gym in the red area, and he notices Frankie punching a punching bag, and he has a shiv, and yeah, he ends up stabbing Frankie, and he's like, it's from Osito. Now we get a shot of Frankie on the floor bleeding out. Now I'm not really sure if Frankie's dead, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But let's see what happens. So yeah, Osito is very happy that Frankie is off the board, and yeah, he's been driven off to meet Mr. New York, who we don't know who it is. So I'm looking forward to seeing who the show is going to cast as Mr. New York. Charmaine, on the other hand, ended up getting a ride from a woman. And the woman is like, where are you up to, girl? And Charmaine is like, anywhere but here. So maybe Charmaine is going to go to New York, or maybe she's just going to stay low and get out of the drug business. Who knows? So yeah, the episode ends, and oh, this moment, the way that this episode ended. So Jackie ends up calling Ray, and she is an emotional mess. She's like, Ray, everything is wrong. I just don't know what to do. I'm just outside my house, and yeah, you need to tell me what to do. And Ray is like, hey, I'm here, okay? I'm here to support you. So you're outside the house. So I advise you to go into the house, or do you want to come over tonight? And Jackie's like, no, I'm okay. I don't want to come over to your place. And I actually like the fact that Ray actually invited her to come over, even though Renee and her kid are already there. Ray was ready to support Jackie. But yeah, he's like, okay, so if you don't want to come over, then I advise you to go into the house and sleep, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. And I was like, okay, Ray, you know what? You need to ask her whose house she's outside, because at first I was like, is Jackie outside Leslie's house? Is she going to barge in and start yelling at Leslie or something? But no, it's far worse. It's far worse. It turns out that she was actually outside the house of that creepy dude we saw a few episodes back who was supplying drugs to Frankie's dad and his new girlfriend. And he also has the hots for Frankie, and he wanted to, I don't know, be intimate with not Frankie, again, Jackie. Yeah. With Jackie, he wanted to be intimate with Jackie and he wanted to hook up with her in exchange for drugs. And I'm like, oh no, Jackie, why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because Jackie's like, you know what? I need you to hook me up. I need you to hook me up. And he's like, I would hook you up, but I don't hook up police officers. And she's like, you know what? I'm not really sure if I'm a police officer right now, and please just do this for me. And he's like, you know what, you show me yours and I'll show you mine. So Jackie ends up lifting her shirt and she shows her abdomen and her chest, and the guy is like, yeah, come in, come in. And this is where the episode ends, and I'm like, Jackie, why? Ray should have forced her to come over, but but yeah, everyone has left Jackie, and I think she was like, you know what? Even though this dude is creepy, he has drugs, he's into me, so I won't be lonely tonight if I go to him. I guess that was her thought process. But wow, the way that this episode ended. I really hope that Stars ends up greenlighting a season number 3, because I really want to see what happens next. And I do like the fact that the writers are showing that being sober, it's a struggle. It can be very challenging. There are peaks and valleys, and yeah, a whole lot of people. There are people who just can't get through the entire process of being sober, at least not for long. And I think that's the type of character Jackie is. And I think that the writers are also trying to show that, you know what, you can try again. So I really hope that Jackie tries again and she is able to sober up and be a better person. But the fact is that there's just a whole lot happening in her life, and she's unable to cope with it in a healthy manner. But yeah, this episode, wow, a finale, a powerful finale. So let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comment section below. And if I end up doing a written review of this for the Geek Theory, I'll make sure to publish the link to the review down in the comment section below as soon as the review goes up. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the episode. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.